All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Why white supremacy is a joke. You know, sometimes people actually think they're better than somebody without having to prove it. And this is why white supremacy is a joke. You got white people who would say, y'all need to go back to Africa. Well, we tried that. See, the people who say that for some odd reason don't act like they don't know much about history and they don't know about Marcus Garvey or Pan-Africanism, and forget that he bought ships for us to go back to Africa. And what happened? They sold him lemons. So if you wanted us to leave, when we tried to leave, you sold us lemons, and the guy that was putting together our way of leaving the country, you locked him up and deported him. So to say you want us gone is a complete, absolute, utter lie, because white supremacy needs us more than we need it. The second thing, you black people need to create your own and do for yourselves and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's a joke. That's a lie. Because in part of our segregation, we did create things like Rosewood. Well, situations like Rosewood popped up, rather. The Black Wall Street I talked about before, Harlem Renaissance. The Black Wall Street just wasn't in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They had one in Winston-Salem. We talk about the Harlem Renaissance. That's basically the idea of Black Wall Street. Things happen in other states, like the Black Panther Party. I would consider would be Black Wall Street because of the things that were put in place. And every time we tried to separate ourselves or build our own community and economic base, white America made sure to infiltrate it and destroy it. So if you wanted us to be separate from you, once again, what is the use of bombing Tulsa, Oklahoma, or killing people off like in Rosewood, or taking all the ideas of the Black Panther Party and implementing them into quote unquote American society, but excluding the fact that you got it all from the black community? What is the use of, how can I put this, taking things like our criminal organization was to run numbers or whatever, cutting out the numbers running and creating a lotto because you didn't want us making money on it. But everybody in America buys a lotto ticket, but most people in America don't know who created it in the first place. Stuff like that. And when it comes to inventing things, which I've talked about inventions in my last couple of videos just now, when we create things, people make sure they steal the idea or steal the patent or make sure that their lawyers look like the people in the patent office, and people in the patent office look like the people in the business room, and because everybody looks the same and the person who has the issue looks like me, then everybody has the illegal but legal home field advantage to make sure this guy doesn't make money or woman doesn't make money. But at the same token, say pull yourself up by your bootstraps while they try to live off of other people's work. Another thing, there comes a point where you have to ask yourself about genetics. Now, it's a twofold thing. I think it's called the Mendel law. I might be wrong. Mendel. I'm in that ballpark. Two dominants can create a recessive, but two recessives can't create a dominant. That's why black people say most people come from us, because black people are the creator of the rest of the races. Now, as a black man, I know, and a lot of black people who watch my videos know, we've had albino friends, family members, or acquaintances, or known of albinos in our community, so who have black parents. That's nothing new to us. So creating somebody, that kid look a little, this kid look a little, that kid look a little, that's nothing new to us. That's like when people say, are you mixed with something? And people look at them like, mixed? You crazy? Because it's not just a quote unquote slavery mixture thing going on. We actually do create different shades of people, you know, and white people can't do that. Most people who are non-white can't do that. I mean, non-black can't do that. That's just something that we do. The other thing about that is slavery worked in two folds. And not only when we say Caucasian genes are recessive, it's not that necessarily. It's that, and they say, these black guys are more dominant athletes, and y'all don't want to admit that we're more dominant thinkers, but the term necessity is the mother of invention would basically back the terminology of these black people invented a whole lot of things in America, but you don't give us credit for it. But we were the ones who had the most necessities, who needed the most necessities. We didn't have the luxuries of everyone else. But because of that, slavery also made white people recessive because you spent time, quote unquote, saying you're using your mind while manipulating the work of other people. So a lot of times white genes are not just recessive because of they're quote unquote recessive genes, but through hundreds of years of not actually working, you become recessive as a people. And just look at the common sense of women. Women's makeup, we say men are gatherers, hunters, gatherers, women are nurturers. Well, if men are hunters and gatherers, we evolved over time to have to be the stronger ones because we had to deal with more harshness. And women were over time became the weaker vessel because they had to deal with more comfort. So that's the same premise. Um, and I think, excuse me, and I think also at the end of the day, it's a joke because there is no reason white supremacy can be taken seriously by anybody black. That's why normally we take offense to some of the things white supremacists say or white supremacy says and some of the things they do, but we're not really concerned about it because white supremacy is a transfer of everything. See, if you're actually a white supremacist but you're not mad at white people, you got an issue because this is the America that white people created. So everything that you don't like about it is not a non-white issue. It's actually a white issue. Everything that I stated, you know, if you wanted us out, white people sabotaged us. If you wanted us out of your economic system, white people destroyed our economic systems, our political systems. If you wanted us out of your families, you shouldn't have, white people infiltrated our families and systems and wanted to mix and make kids with us and that kind of stuff. You get what I'm saying? So if you can't be mad at yourselves for the things you did, then what are you fucking with us for again? So, that's why it's a joke. Peace.